During world history, many Christian orders went with different missions to China. The big purpose of it all was to convert people to Christianity, but also to take advantage of their time being there to offer schooling, medicine, labor, and any aid possible. There were a lot of Christian groups from all over the world, but the majority came from the United States and Europe, working in different provinces of China and on different tasks. Missionaries from Portugal and Spain aimed from commercial expansion because they believed that spreading the word of God would simply affect their economic interests, since the majority of the population in China had Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism as their major religions. Notwithstanding, their way to convert them to Christianity was to act in alliance with the population, to cooperate with one another in commercial goals. This way, talking about Jesus Christ and evangelizing afterwards would be a much easier task to perform. The Brethren missionaries traveled all the way from the United States to Shanxi province, where they started all their mission work. It was not so different for the Brethren than from other Christian denominations. Yes, their main purpose was to evangelize, but as they preached the Word of God, they implemented strategies by taking advantage of some tools. For instance, they provided education. In some cases, they provided shelter, but most importantly, they provided jobs. Of course, all of it was incredibly attractive for locals. As for other denominations, work really varied from porters to guards to mining, various activities in social service, hospital work, school teachers, evangelists, Bible women, mission home staff, and much more. US missionary women were key for economic progress in Brethren missions in China. They were not only leaders, but also rebels. But the biggest example of a leader is specifically represented by Nettie Singer in the wool industry. It is crucial to understand how industrial work was like for Brethren missionaries. Missionaries helped citizens of the community to become economically independent. Chinese loved it, as any other human being would, and they started following their advices and ideologies, even applying some of Western culture in clothing. Nevertheless, it was not a simple task to evangelize. Luckily, Brethren missionaries already counted with the experience of other previous Christian denominations in China. At the beginning, other Christians would not have sent missionary women to China, just men. After, they would accept married couples, but no single woman. And finally, single women were sent because Chinese women only accepted to work with missionaries under the same gender. The Brethren believed that they could use poverty as an advantage in order to evangelize. Poverty brought entire families to pray, to become part of a faith in order for a better future. The big idea was that work and job-related activities provided Chinese people the opportunity to have a purpose in life, having something to do in their daily routine. They also wanted the Chinese to observe them working and how they enjoyed sharing. This way, they will understand that there is a larger value in life, and they will eventually want to have Christianity as their faith. Chinese had a lot of sheep being raised, but poorly used. With the arrival of Nettie Singer and her implementation of schooling in wool knitting, she helped the community to grow big in this particular industry. Though it was odd for the time, and there is nothing more than pictures to portray it, apparently even Chinese men help with knitting too. The farmers in China were struggling economically speaking. With the help and guide of Nettie in teaching the weaving of wool, the industry started to grow significantly and became a great asset to farmers for a more sustainable economy. The wool industry started to grow huge in popularity with these changes. Nettie was amazed how quickly they were able to learn once they tried it and gave it a chance. Women were eager to perform weaving wool in clothing and knitting. They studied half a day, and the other half of the day they dedicated it to industrial work. The work would be done by working in connection with the Mother Craft School, which was a women's school. The process of making clothes out of wool in Shanxi province would start by sorting the wool, then carding the wool, third spinning wheel by hand. Then Nettie Singer will perform inspection of the work to see if it's even and smooth, followed by a variety of steps that in the end should all be connected with faith in God. After finishing their wool projects, they would sell them in a fair outside the east gate of Liaoxian. According to Steve Bowers in his text Planting the Faith in a New Land, Nettie established special ties to the women of the villages and accepted Chinese customs as a new way of getting closer to the people. She began wearing Chinese dress and always carrying knitting with her. This way she could join in informal conversations among with small groups of women. After some time being in China, Nettie wrote a letter mentioning school debt. She did not get a reply for a long time, but once she did, the board thanked her for decreasing the debt significantly. Hence, it is incredible to get to analyze how industrial work did not only help to evangelize, but at the same time, help for the Brethren Church to lower their debt. Nettie demonstrated her leadership once more when she gave classes on how men and women should behave in households. Furthermore, she taught women how to write, read, stay hygiene, and to train their children in appropriate behavior. Other efforts to support jobs and progress were during the famine of 1920, where a road and a canal were built. But famine hit it so hard that it caused the closing of some of the mines, which also affected the local merchants who could not sell to people without money to buy. All sorts of jobs were stagnant because no one could build, work on wool, or on their merchandise. Evolve the money that people count with, they use it for medicine and or food. For sure, war between communists versus nationalists and the invasion of Japan, famine and political issues were all causes that brought economic problems for the missionaries in China, and the Brethren were not an exception. Steve Bowers argues that a number of senior missionaries repeatedly admonished Nettie Singer to stop identifying so closely with the Chinese people, because she was demeaning the dignity of a Christian missionary. She ignored the warnings and moved ahead with projects she felt were important. There is a lot of pro-woman movement going around since missionaries as Nettie stand out. Nettie is considered to be a bit rebellious for the time. Therefore, Nettie's example confirms what other historians have said about economic development in mission fields, which brought us an overall result to evangelization of the large percentage of the population. Some people would argue that without men, many of the economic progress would not be done. Yes, there were essential male missionaries promoters in industrial work, but it was easier for men in that time to stand out due to societal views. For women, it was more of a challenge to stand out, and yet, Nettie did. The issue was when Nettie or other leaders in missionary fields went back to their home countries. When these women returned home, it was difficult for them and for the church to say they could no longer perform the task they had performed so well in foreign lands. But they had already written history. And that is something that will stay forever.